So a while ago, I decided to start on a challenge that I thought would be pretty fun and entertaining. You see, I love Animal Crossing. Let me rephrase that. I love fishing. Let me get more specific. I love fishing in Animal Crossing. It's the thing I like the most about it, and it was the whole reason I started even playing it. So when I decided to do this challenge, I had a ton of faith in myself to actually complete it. Now, for those who click on a video without a care in the world, or maybe just didn't read this right, the challenge I'm talking about is catching every fish in Animal Crossing. This video is specifically going to cover me doing the Gamecube version, but when I say catching every fish, I mean it, as I'm doing a total of 5 different Animal Crossings all on different consoles. If you want to know how that's going, I'm currently still working on it because for some reason, the most common fish in the game decided to switch roles with the rare ones. I also just streamed the challenge, so if you ever want to catch one of my streams of doing this, I have my schedule up on my posts and even have the VODs on my channel for anyone to enjoy. With that in mind, all I ask is for you guys to support this video so I can hopefully do more in the future, and most of all, I hope you enjoy. For a little context on what was going on before this challenge that made me even consider doing this was playing the Gamecube version for the very first time. Now, I'm a guy, so naturally, I don't have a single damn decoration bone in my body. What I do have is the feeling to fish, and that was very apparent when you consider that the 5 to 10 streams I did of New Horizons was all spent fishing. I love it, and I'm sure you can tell, so when I came to the worry of not really knowing what I could do for videos on my channel while playing on the Gamecube, I got a very special recommendation from my mod Jess. I thought it was an amazing idea, actually, so much so, I decided almost a week later to delete that world and start on the fishing challenge almost immediately. What comes from deleting a world is starting, so when I did that, I forgot about the slowest parts about these games are, the tutorial. It's especially worse when I'm an absolute dumbass and forget to listen to Nook about where to go and what to do, so you can already put me down as a big time waster starting on this challenge. It especially didn't help that another obstacle would soon be in my way, actually getting a fishing rod. Now, please understand that I really tried to get this damn rod. I tried harder than your mother on Valentine's Day, trying to convince her emotionally detached father for his rod. To say the least, I got frustrated and gave up on the challenge. Nah, I'm just messing around, but I'm probably going to do something that a lot of people are going to get mad at me for, using cheats. What exactly did I use? Well, just the code for getting a golden fishing rod. Now, if I'm going to cheat, I'm going to do it in style, so when I couldn't get the normal fishing rod, my first thought was, well, I better look like a pimp while doing this. I'm still just messing around, but I thought it really didn't matter as all I wanted to do is start on the real challenge and kind of thought to myself that it would be the same thing as getting the normal fishing rod. With that muscle tool in my possession, I could actually start on the challenge at hand, so where do we begin? For most of the games, it'll probably be just to fish up whatever I can from the river first and the ocean last, but something special happened during this game. You see, it rained, and my mind can only think of one thing: coelacanth. I took the opportunity so fast since it actually takes so long to get rain on purpose, especially at the right time to actually be able to catch it. So the first stream of this game was just entirely dedicated to that, but before I reveal the big reveal, let's go over what we got normally. The first fish being the rarest of them all was the sea bass. I'm sure nobody's tired of this asshole filling up your inventory when you're trying to catch something new. Next, I picked up the barred knife jaw, red snapper, and goddamn, how many more bass am I going to catch? After catching what seemed like a wasted effort, I decided to sell what I could and donate the 3 total new fish from the ocean and head towards the river for a bit. Here I was able to get the salmon quite quickly, along with a barbel steed, a small bass, a bluegill, and even a brook trout. All of these though are just the most common fish, so they're nothing quite special just yet. I should probably take a second to mention and talk about how the fishing kind of works for the Gamecube series, as every single game is different, especially with their fishing mechanics. Now, I can go ahead and say I suck ass at fishing, and that much is clear, as I had many fails that I'm skipping just to give you the creme de la creme. You might wonder why. Well, maybe it's because I didn't get enough love as a child, or maybe I just wasn't bullied enough, but I will say, the Gamecube can be quite tricky. We all know how fishing works. You throw down your bobber into the water, particularly in front of a face of a fish, and wait for it to fully chow down on the damn thing. Now, the tricky part about these early Animal Crossing games is that since there's less fish, they want to make it as difficult as humanly possible. So that means putting down your bobber and getting a hook can land on the first chomp, and if you don't react in a nanosecond, that shit's gone like your love life. It's great. I never hated myself more until this game showed me how worse it could be. For real though, this was hard, and I mean with rare fish it only gets worse, as all I was the whole time was paranoid. So for most of the fill footage, all you'll see is me reeling in too quickly, and it hurts worse and worse each time I look at it. On the good side of things though, for other games this kind of gets better as there's more fish, so the difficulty doesn't really need to be all there. As for a solution to getting better at catching fish, getting locked in as the kids say was a good start, but I found that closing my eyes helped oddly enough. It's kind of weird, but once you know a fish is going to start hooking, it's best to listen into the audio cues and try to react as best as you can. This might just be me honestly, but this is what I've been using so far if I really need to focus on an important fish. With the giant elephant in the room, my skill addressed and gotten out of the way, I can continue on with the journey. After donating what I could get from the river during that time, I decided I wanted a second chance at the whole coelacanth thing, so I went back out to the menu and changed the time backwards, keeping the rain. With all that set up, I could finally hunker down at the ocean side and begin my hunt. After more than an hour or two, or what feels like 1,000 stupid sea basses hooked and thrown back, I finally landed this.
Fucking massive. Yes, yes, please be coelacanth. Yes, 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 yes.
I was actually so happy to catch this, mainly because of course it's a rare fish, but on the other hand, was something I did in the very first stream. It felt like an amazing start to this journey and made me even more hyped for the next time I would play, so having that already crossed off our list was a good first step. I want to say the next time I played, I was already looking at what I would need to catch next, but that wasn't really the case. I kind of just hopped in, hoping I would get something new. Surprisingly, without changing the time, I was able to catch some new stuff like the dace, a large bass, a catfish, and even a carp. What followed that is what I'll call fishing blind, as I did what I was hoping I wouldn't do and catch the same fish over and over. This persisted way longer than it should have had, and how do I know this? Because I caught another coelacanth. Yup, what almost took 3 hours was caught in 40 minutes, so that's cool, I guess. Once that was over, I finally had the balls to look at a fishy and start getting fish specifically, but what I did next was sheer dumb luck. Instead of going after the crucian carp and koi, I thought I needed a brook trout for some reason, so I headed to the river to catch that, but what I ended up getting was a lot more interesting.
Oh, what is that? What is that? Oh my god, what is that, dude? Oh, wait, dude, what did we catch? What? Is this the arapaima?
So that's like 2 of the 4 biggest and baddest fish in Animal Crossing Gamecube out of the way. I will say, looking back on it now, it's a lot more insane to catch something like this randomly and on accident, especially since there isn't that many rare fish overall compared to its newer versions. Either way, a win is a win. On the other hand, I was able to catch the crucian carp I needed at the same time as the arapaima and even started looking for the koi fish. The first fish I got was the goldfish, along with a freshwater goby, rainbow trout, and a second arapaima. What the hell is with me catching the rarest fish in the game twice? Whatever this luck is, I just hope it can stick with the damn common fish in this game. Before I continue on, I realized a little late about something I didn't mention that I probably should have way before the arapaima. You see, the location of the river that I was fishing at could be fished in one of 2 areas, the top area where the water falls down or the lower area where it meets the ocean. The place I decided to fish was the top area, which was another good thing about it, a lake. Near the top area of it, there's a dock with a huge circle area with a bunch of space. This is classified as a lake and would continue to confuse me as I go through more of the games. Since the lake's here, I'm going to say that most of the time I would stop by and catch anything I would see in here. The main fish that I could only get from here was the brook trout, but in most instances was where I caught the goldfish, rainbow trout, and the arapaima. The line between river and lake is a confusing one, but I'm going to assume you can get both inside the lake anyway, so I'll take anything I can get. The next thing I caught was the cherry salmon, which was inside the lake, which is why I mentioned the lake anyways. With a good time passing by, I realized that the hunt for the koi fish was fucking impossible, so I decided to postpone that and try to move on to the easier things for now. The next 2 I went after were the giant catfish and pale chub, and it's taking everything inside me not to make a dick joke with the chub. Chubbing right along, the pale chub is going to be something I do last, as the time frame for it is the complete opposite compared to the catfish, but can both be caught during the month of August. Another thing is that the catfish is only caught in the lake, so doing our normal routine of stopping by the lake area and catching anything is going to do us good. Luckily, it didn't take long before we got some new fish to add to our museum, as I was able to pick up a normal bass, a sweet fish, an angelfish, and even the giant catfish we needed. After leaving off those fish and exiting the museum, something caught my eye. What I thought were decorative ponds next to the museum was actually a real pond to fish in, and luckily, a fish spawned as I was leaving. What I got from it was a frog, which is one of 2 things that could actually spawn in there, but as I moved on to another one nearby, I got a second fish there, being the crawfish. With more than half of the fish caught already on the second stream, I decided to leave it there for the night and pick up back next time I would stream Animal Crossing. To start off the 3rd stream, I ended up changing the time to what I thought was the right time for the pale chub. It was not. I was lucky enough to catch at least something new with the mistake I made, as I picked up an eel. Now, that's a moray. It's not the amore eel, but I like the joke, so fuck you. Next, I got the killifish, and if you're expecting a small dick joke, I hope you're prepared, because the moment I got this thing in my hands, I got PTSD from the whole experience. While on the topic of small things, the piranha was the next fish I was able to catch and stash, but not until I went back and changed to the correct time. After some more fishing, finally, the chub was in sight and in my grasp. Marking that down, I can announce that we officially need 9 more fish to go for Animal Crossing Gamecube. Time flies when you're catching fish that looks like your penis. The next couple of fish are all small types, so as far as difficulty goes, they weren't all too bad, as I was able to pick up a pond smell and the loach I needed next. With that, I headed towards the time for the bitterling, catching that just as fast as the loach, and also picked up another fish I needed. The next fish was the big and bad boss battle of the river, as we needed to catch the rarest of them all, the snakehead. This took me 15 minutes? I don't know how, and to anybody that sees this and struggled to catch any of these fish, I apologize, because I really couldn't tell you how my dumbass hooked this so fast. On the good side of things, at least for you the viewer, I finally struggled, or better yet, actually had to grind for a fish. The next two up were actually the rarest and boss battle fish we need to go against, as the large char has the difficulty of only being caught in a waterfall. And what I mean by waterfall is the area where the water actually falls into, so that's where I had to spend a good time while going back and forth. I'm not really sure if it's possible, but I also thought that the fish could spawn at the top of the waterfall before it goes down, so you'll see me frequently running from the top area down to the lower area. Here I would just run back and forth, mostly waiting for an actual fish to spawn, since that's where the hard part actually steps in. A good tip is that, which by the way I'm not sure works for the GameCube version, but heading into your home and exiting is supposedly the way to despawn and spawn new fish, so if needed that's always a good way to have some sort of reset. After a good while, the large char was caught, and to my surprise, wasn't all too bad for the amount of time I put into trying to get it. You know, I never thought that I would somehow be disappointed for not struggling on a game just so I can make content more interesting, because I totally caught the stringfish like 20 minutes after the large char. I do wonder if these fish are meant to be more difficult, but it could be that the GameCube is on the easier side of things, as it has less variety in a number of factors for fishing. But as I've said, it's great to get these big fish without having to struggle so much, as I really do think I struggle more on the smaller fish that for some reason would rather not pop up for me. With that done, I headed forward once again, changing the time for the guppy and arowana, but instead caught something I feel like is a lot more special in my eyes. The koi is a rare fish. Now, it might not seem like it now, but I do think that its spawn chances are a lot harder to find compared to most, since it blends in with other spawn times for other fishes. Luckily, I just gave it time, so getting it coincidentally is just another nice catch to add onto the list. Right after this, I chose to do something that would significantly lengthen the time I spent fishing, going after the arowana. I mainly chose this as to leave the easier fish to catch, that being the guppy and the jellyfish, and handle the last big fish of the game. I spent a total of 3.5 hours on stream fishing for the arowana. This tortured my soul, as my whole shtick for streaming and YouTube is doing stuff late at night. What a stupid thing to do. There's nothing like fishing at 3 or 4 in the morning, catching the same fish over and over and over, and just wanting to go to bed. But I eventually prevailed and caught the arowana. The final two were easily in my sight, as the guppy was next up, taking only about 30 to 40 minutes to be caught. The jellyfish was somehow even faster, as it's during a super specific time, but extremely common to catch. Now with those two gotten and in my inventory, I could now say that I've caught in and donated every fish in Animal Crossing GameCube. Or can I? Turns out I didn't donate every fish, as I forgot to donate one of the most common fish in the fucking game. So here I was at the museum, dumbfounded that I didn't get the special prompt after donating what I thought was the last fish I needed. I went into the fish room to see the names of all the fish I've donated and see what I missed, and the answer was heartbreaking. I forgot to donate a normal fucking bass. Luckily, I had that in my inventory anyways, but the fact that I even forgot to give this to Blathers was insane to me. It doesn't end there though, as I had a second fish to give to him, a cherry salmon. Somehow, I never donated it, so right after that, I headed back to the menu, changed the time, and started looking for a cherry salmon all over again. After an additional 20 minutes, I caught the salmon, and as I was making space for it, I realized a small, funny detail that is so funny.
Oh, I've got more now? Oh. Did I had a cherry salmon in my fucking inventory this whole time? I had a cherry salmon in my inventory this whole time. This was useless.
I already had one in my inventory. I hate this game. With that though, I finally donated it, marking the first game of the challenge, finally completed and over with. Fishing is such a fun experience to me, as not only do I just enjoy the way Animal Crossing establishes it, but also the way you can converse with other people on the memories they had on this game along the way. I will honestly say that I completely enjoyed Animal Crossing GameCube and is now by far my favorite out of all of them, as there's just so much to like about this game. The music is enjoyable and not repetitive, the design is charming and fun to look at, the villagers are amazing to actually interact with and see around you. It's just an overall pleasant experience to play this game, so to be able to complete the fishing portion of it was a great thing to do. It was awesome to have so many people along the way for this game as well, seeing all the people that grew up with it and enjoy their time, and just in general just have fun seeing me complete this. I hope you enjoyed the video, even with my 3rd grade script writing skills, but I'd love to keep doing more for you guys, and I'd love to hear any thoughts on the game or just your own ideas you'd love to see me do. With that, I'll leave you guys here. Make sure you follow for more, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.